Hey guys, I found a way to kickstart my day with a boost of focus and creativity in liquid form. And no, it's not coffee. I started using Magic Mind, the first mental performance shot, and some of its ingredients are nootropics, adaptogens, and matcha, but that's really just for flavor. It's been designed to elevate your energy, decrease stress, and amplify your concentration. However, I mostly use it as a coffee substitute in the morning. Call me old-fashioned. If you are interested in giving it a shot, you can order some from magicmind.com.
Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of Token Podcast Reviews. I'm your host and sometimes referee, the friendly neighborhood, Zach Stat Pearson, except no substitutes. And today I'm here with...
B. Hi. I thought you were going to introduce me.
Well, I was, but you only gave me 2 seconds. I was going to say possibly the closest you get to a human equivalent of a vampire. She who burns in the sun, Honeybee.
Yeah, no, the closest to a human being that I get.
Fucking... You have like the same issues as Laura, but she doesn't have the same problems you do with the sun. That is fucking ironic.
Yeah.
Alright, so, as if the title wasn't obvious, you know what we're here about. And I want to put out this disclaimer because, well, people make assumptions too much from other YouTubers and how videos are done. We will more than likely not be utilizing any footage directly from the actual show, even if it's the trailer, or maybe only just the trailer. Because, well, licensing departments are fickle mistresses, or they're completely automated soulless machines. In which case, both options suck. So, as to make sure this video can come out in a timely manner, after we got done waiting as long as we had, well, possibly due to some business related things, and also because, you know, we don't want to be one of those people blurting out a bunch of spoilers before people have had a chance to look at something. We will instead be using our patented blackboard, because the board's black now, or light gray board, yeah, in the background.
Yay.
So, first thing we're going to talk about is story. Now, I'm going to go first on all of these subjects except sound design because, well, I'm going to be popping popcorn and enjoying how far a small foot can go in a TV show's ass, essentially. So, if you're familiar with the games, as we've already established, you should not expect anything to be one-to-one. Most of these games were made before 3D gaming was cheap. In particular, the Castlevania that this game is themed after didn't even come out until 2000 or 2001. Yes, that was a long time ago, motherfucker. So, with that being said, believe me when I tell you, respecting the source material and also creating some original material and assets and structure is not only, you know, expected, but is a foregone conclusion. So anyone mad about character design alterations, be them ethnic based or personality based or sex based, normally, or depending on the situation, your concerns are valid. Like with The Witcher on Netflix.
Yes.
Rest in peace.
That shit in peace.
Died before it had a chance because they just wanted to be stupid.
God.
But here's the thing. You have to strongly remember. Everything is up to interpretation once it leaves its original format. And I hope that the people listening to this can understand that. It's not a hard concept. If you make a video game and you turn it into a TV show, there will be things that will be different intrinsically. And if you turn a TV show into a game, there will be things that will be different intrinsically. That's just how it works when you do a media adaptation. That's why we use the term adaptation. Now, obviously, some places will abuse the hell out of this. Again, Witcher. Well, anything after season 2, really. However, and let me be the first to state, point blank, I acknowledge their changes, and I think they did a good job. And most people who would know what they did are probably, at least 20 years older than me. They're pushing 50. So they may not even know that this is even coming out or that it exists. It's that simple. Because of that, they get a lot of leeway. I am aware of the death threats people made by making, a la carte bisexual. Personally, I think you should shut the fuck up.
Look at him. Look at him and tell me he's not at least bisexual.
He's not, but he is an ancient being.
I don't care.
Of course you
don't.
No,
if you live long enough, you're gonna have a gay experience.
Well, I wasn't gonna phrase it that way. I wasn't gonna phrase it that way. But a being that's going to live as long as Alucard does, and just based on the proper mythology and lore from the games, which again, most of you motherfuckers ain't even playing, Alucard, by the time we last see him in Dracula Truly Dies, the original timeline, not the Hideo Kojima shit, Alucard lives for upwards of 800 years. He just lives upwards of 800 years. To say that no man would be attracted to him that's gay or bisexual or make a pass at him would be statistically impossible unless he was a recluse. But I don't know if this counts as a spoiler because you guys aren't going to experience it. As we all know, what actually happens is he just assumes different disguises over time, and eventually he ends up in Japan disguised as a dark brunette man. So I think someone will make a pass at him at some point. Furthermore, as we all know, and it's been heavily implied, he led a very, very lonely existence. Or at least we think he did. Yeah, you would say that. Or at least we think he did. Can you swoon after I'm done?
No, he's a sweet baby angel.
But you give me shit about Sephiroth. Anyways.
This is what you signed up for when you had me on this.
No, it's not. I had no idea that you would even be into this. Because you give me shit about Sephiroth, who is basically the same damn thing.
Listen, I don't thirst after him. That's the thing. Same like I don't thirst after Sephiroth. I just think they're neat and precious and should be protected at all costs.
Yeah, I wonder how you protect them. Moving on. So I honestly can say that if you grew up feeling like an outcast, you're literally one of, if not the only species of your kind to exist. The ones who closely relate to your father want the ones who closely relate to your mother genetically and biologically to essentially be their food source. You're going to have a very unique upbringing. That's why, and what I've always found weird though is you almost never see a half vampire in any form of media. We know that they're a concept. We see them in books sometimes, but they're almost not in any media outside of books. A lot of people don't realize that. Vampire Hunter D is actually one of the first incarnations of a half vampire in, filmic media. And his movie came out in like 2002. Yeah, it was a long time ago. Man. So, yeah, I'm indifferent to it, but also I'm straight and I respect the LGBT plus whoever comes after the T, because those letters and numbers, and I think there's numbers now, I'm not sure why, they keep changing on me, and I have yet to fully invest in the rabbit hole of what comes after the T. I have some ideas, but I just, I respect it. In general.
LGBTQ.
No, it's like a lot of shit after that now. The only people I got issue with are like fucking transracials because you're not a goddamn thing, and trans species because you need to be put in a mental institution. And they keep giving them
Yeah.
documentaries and shit. There's a fat little goth kid, I think he's like a grown man now, who wants to be considered a fucking wolf. Okay, go run around in the forest butt ass naked.
I have the full. It's LGBTQQIP2SAA.
See?
And that
Shit.
stands for lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, questioning, intersex, pansexual, two-spirit, androgynous, and asexual. I didn't know that. Now I learned something. And you're right, there is a number in there.
Let's just hope that shit's accurate.
Neat.
Anyways, so I'm very, very far removed from it. Furthermore, it's a bit of a non-consecutor because in this season, that motherfucker don't show up till the final minutes of the final episode. This
You gotta
iteration
admit,
primarily...
it was a pretty sweet moment.
Until the audio kicked in.
Okay.
Okay, so you didn't get my message. I'll go do it myself. Be right back.
What? I have it right here.
Did you give me the link?
Oh, was I supposed to? You just
I
said.
specifically, yes,
oh, get it.
get the link because I needed it.
Okay. Well, here. There.
Okay. Where's the cast button? Top cast. There we go. Okay. So, the primary character is one of the strongest Belmonts, if not the strongest Belmont, outside of, Dracula himself, who I guess technically you can consider a Belmont on some level. Two exist in the franchise, and that is Richter Belmont. Richter is the perfect blend of combat specialist, physically strong, as well as, attuned to magic due to his lineage. So, seeing him basically be a fucking pussy from the beginning almost until the last 2 episodes was a treat. I enjoyed it. And I don't want people to think, oh yeah, you just wanted the vampires to win. No, I mean almost every single Castlevania game, except for, to my knowledge, 2, literally 2, are structured so the characters are complete and they're just reacting to the story around them. This Richter ain't like that. This guy, wow.
He's a young man to grow.
Yes. Yeah. Which you almost never see outside of, going back to the other format, the Hideo Kojima Castlevania games. Mm-hmm. And in which case the character development wasn't really,
wasn't there.
Yeah, it was just for the antagonist technically until the second game, which is all focused on Dracula. So, honestly, the way I'm looking at it, they knew what they were doing. And I like that. They didn't just say, here's a complete character, here's him reacting to the story. They just did that for the past 2 seasons. The only person who had character development was fucking Alucard. And that didn't really start till, the second season.
Yeah.
And then they immediately don't pay him that much attention because he got to chill for 90% of it.
Yeah.
Or I guess
he just sat there traumatized.
Yeah, or I should say, the 3rd season, because technically this Richter shit is a new show, but it's like the 4th season.
Yeah.
However you want to view it. Because Castlevania, much like Final Fantasy, is an anthological series. So you do get sequels, but they don't heavily feature any previous characters or information. Anyways, we saw him lose his mom, which we almost never get to see the Belmonts do. We've heard about things that they've lost to darkness and the evils of man and vampires, but we don't get to see that shit. Then we learned that, oh, this guy isn't even going to be the true villain. This guy is like the tip of the iceberg. He knew about a bigger threat that was coming and wanted to see it for himself. So now I'm a little bit torn because the way the story was set up, we have the good guys, we have people pretending to be the good guys, and we have greedy people who want to join the side of evil. Does not sound a little bit realistic. And fucking, we have the new people, Richter and his crew, reacting to finding out this stuff over time. Personally, I love that. If you actually sit down and look at it, the only true issues I have is the black chick they introduced and her friend are getting too much goddamn screen time. The one who sings operatically. Let me see if I can pull him up.
Oh God, what was that character's name then? Edward? Was that it?
Yeah, they spelled it a weird way. Played by Sidney James Harcourt.
A-R-D, yeah.
Yeah, played by Sidney James Harcourt. Apparently he was also in a musical called I'm Not Gay, a musical. That's kind of funny.
Okay.
That's legitimately fucking hilarious. And he was in Hamilton.
Oh, that doesn't surprise me. Everyone was in fucking Hamilton.
Lin-Manuel put it down.
Yeah.
Anyways, so his character essentially shows up to basically be converted into a monster and then have, if I can count correctly, less than 3 paragraphs of dialogue for the rest of the series. As soon as he's shown up, motherfucker was out of the episode.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, it's an 8-episode season. There are 6 episodes that he's in, and he's dead or undead monster for like 5 of those episodes. And then he's in a jail cell singing. And then he's not in a jail cell singing. And then they have flashbacks about him singing. Bro. He's one of the only things I don't like. Not the character, how much time and importance they gave to him. That's my issue with him.
I don't know what it was about the singing, because I'm actually a fan of opera. I love opera.
It doesn't fit this fucking
No!
story. That's the problem.
I was cringing the entire way through. Something about
It's
it
too
was just
excessive.
so off.
Yes, it's too excessive. First thing he does when he shows up, oh, I'm actually a famous singer. Oh, let me sing for your friend. For 3 minutes? A motherfucker you don't know? Oh,
Yeah.
I've died. Now you're going to be able to find me because now I'm in this basement singing. I'm like, bitch, how do you even still have a consciousness? Why is it you're the only character who fucking has like...
Zax. It's the power of song. This is a fucking Disney movie.
I'm like, this... Oh my God, I'm mad. I was literally about to say those words like, this is not a Disney movie. They're turning people who aren't going to be converted into vampires into fucking monsters and test subjects. This is the only motherfucker who can sing. He can literally sing. Oh my God. In a language that he can't even fucking comprehend. Oh, I have to stay down here and sing. It soothes the monsters. No, the fuck you don't. Literally everything with Eduardo was the weakest point of the show. Literally everything.
Yeah,
if they did what we thought he was going to do, where he comes back as a villain and you have to decide to kill him, or if he becomes like Alucard and he becomes an ally of justice without the singing at the end of the show or the end of the next season, I guess. And we go from there, and then he just fucks around and flies off because, you know, she can't be in love with this human-demon hybrid thing, or she tries to build a relationship, and then hundreds of years later, we see their descendant, and they got magic and super strength access, blah, 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 blah. And Alucard tells him or her and the audience about their, you know, their family history. You know, the Belmonts aren't the only special people around. which ironically in the series they actually are pretty much. Everyone else
Yeah.
just learned some type of magic or alchemy shit. The story was very, very cut and dry, but not in a bad way. So, to summarize, getting character development for the main protagonist and his crew was nice. Because character development for them in the previous seasons outside of Alucard was practically non-existent. They were fully formed characters, and they just made brief mentions of their past. Technically nothing wrong with that. They're middle-aged characters. They're not supposed to be young and brash and shit. However, they spent too much time specifically on a character based on who played him, if you really saw him think about it, who was completely superfluous. Eduardo is the Ken doll of Castlevania. You don't need to be here. I know.
10. Man, anywhere else he'd be a 10.
Funny.
Ah.
I mean, as far as 10s go, he'd be a generic 10, but I guess a 10's a 10, so.
Yeah.
So I was like, I think I'm actually starting to hate this character despite him barely being in the show.
He was just...
Yeah. And
like
the
I said,
antagonist,
he was hard to watch. He was hard to watch.
And the antagonist, of whom which I barely spoke on, well, there were quite a few choices, and they did many unique things this time. Somehow a vampire just knew a guy was gay and started fucking him instead of eating him, which I don't understand how that logics.
I mean, you know.
And there was a fiercely loyal and well-written and well-acted character who unfortunately meets a gruesome end. And her name is, it's a weird name. What is it? Urzesebit? No, wait. That's the god she prays to. What's the... Drolta
was
Zuentis?
the best character.
Yeah, Drolta Zuentis. Yeah, good luck with that one.
Yeah.
There it is on screen for the people watching this.
She was 10 out of 10.
She is... Yeah,
so
you would
good.
think that. She was basically...
Oh my God.
It felt like I was looking at... This is Morrigan Ainsland from Darkstalkers before she learns the joys of human and she just sees them as a way to get food and energy and sustenance. This is a character who somehow doesn't give a shit, but also enjoys when people try to ruin her day. Again, these are characters who've lived however long they've lived. And for her, it seems like she enjoys the nightlife, no pun intended in this case, because she gets the perfect mix of being able to destroy, be destructive, and get away with it, but she can still appreciate, the finer things in life. Like a sunset, if she could not die from it, or a lively town filled with people who aren't, trying to kill you. However, her fierce loyalty and devotion didn't match her character, which is what made her cool. Because everyone thought she's just greedy, trying to get the blood, get the money, etc., etc. Turns out, no, she's fiercely loyal and devout to something she views as essentially a god. I give the story a B. No minus, no plus, just a flat B. It was well put together, but it had many weaknesses that cannot be overlooked because they force you to look at them.
Yeah.
Even after he died. Your turn.
I mean, I'm gonna give it a C+. It just didn't really stand out to me very much. Honest to God, I forgot about it pretty quickly after watching it. There were moments where I was like, all right, this is cool as shit, this is amazing, and other things like Edward, that just felt so out of place. Like I didn't really need that. And I am kind of a weird history nerd, so I thought it was interesting. Elizabeth Bathory, an interesting take on a villain.
Is she based off of Estella Bathory?
No. There was actually a look up Elizabeth Bathory. Look
you can
her
just
up.
Tell me for the video.
So I can't remember exactly what country it was, but she was a noblewoman who, rumor has it that she was stealing young girls from the nearby village,
And draining their
and
blood.
just brutalizing them. She was just addicted to murder.
Okay, so there's two Bathories. Okay, that family's pretty fucked up. Because the one
Oh
I
yeah,
know
no.
about is Estella Bathory, which, just to be clear, do not put that name in Google, people, because even though I have no issues with it when it's consensual, um, there is someone who is not a blood leeching child murderer who's using that title in the world of the Triple X. But there's a Estella Bathory in history who essentially was some form of child murderer. Let me see if I can safely pull her up without running into any issues that I have to edit later. Let me... Estella Bathory history.
She was Hungarian. That's who she was. That's what she was. She was Hungarian.
God damn it. Yeah, there's no way I can pull it up without... Yeah, it's just going the Triple X route. But yeah, there's a Bathory who was just like some historical figure who was either taking blood from young people or beating them. Yeah, I can't. I'm gonna have to blur this entire section, and I'm just looking at words.
Yeah, but the Elizabeth Bathory in like history, they said that she bathed in the blood of virgins in order
Why do
to
I think we're
stay
talking about
young
the
and
same
beautiful.
person? I just
We
got
might
a
be.
different name.
I mean, she was born in 1560.
No, yeah, this is the same person. No,
Okay.
this one. Elizabeth is from the 18th century. Okay, Countess
I'm looking at it
Elizabeth
right now.
Bathory de Esque was a Hungarian noblewoman
Yes,
and alleged
that's what I'm talking
serial
about.
killer.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
so these
that's
are
who
the
I've been
same
talking
person. It's
about.
just different
Okay.
ways to say the name.
Okay.
But yeah. Well, obviously they changed her ethnicity, but to be fair, this character probably didn't even exist in the original story or anything. So
No,
I
I
doubt
don't think
anyone's
she
gonna
did.
be, too mad about it.
Yeah, it was an interesting idea for a villain. I'll just say
I agree.
that.
And it worked out. It
It
honestly
did.
did.
Yeah. She was very,
So-
very extra.
Oh my god, people still say that?
Yeah.
Okay, so how do you rate the story, or did you have some more to say about it? Oh, you said C. My bad.
Yeah, I'd say C.
All right, so
Solid C plus.
Sex B HB C plus. All right, moving on to animation. I'm torn. There was definite improvement, but it seemed like most of the improvement was special effect based. I don't know about you. I'm giving it a B again. There's not much I can say about it I didn't already say previously. They obviously, are learning more shit as they go. But the issue I have is, well, for lack of a better term, these mugs... Oh, it automatically routes it too. That's cool. These mugs, they're not... I don't think they understand that they don't have enough animation frames, to me. I don't know if you're familiar with the term of thirds or twos or ones, but in the world of 2D animation, the way they animate on the frames is based on what would be 3 frames later or 2 frames later, or it's 1-to-1. 1-to-1 is where I think Vampire Hunter D, the second movie, was the only one that ever did 1-to-1, right? Mm-hmm. But they animate on thirds. However, their frame rate is like 24 FPS, or at least in the first season and the second season. Their frame rate was like 24 FPS, but they're animating on thirds. So it was really, really fucking weird. Now I think they realize that, and instead of changing, their animation process, I think what they're doing is quite literally making characters still, or they make small cycles and they don't show the full part of it. Because I can tell you, I know the characters walked in the show. I know the characters ran in the show. I don't think I can remember more than one time in the entirety of the show where you got to see a character's full body when they were running. Basically because it would be harder to hide the frames. Now, when it comes to the character stylization, they essentially haven't really changed much since the first season. I really don't like this whole thing where, depending on the woman, her eyes and the way her, facial structure is shaped looks more like some anime cartoony bullshit. Okay, but then the men look completely different, especially when they get old. Ironically, like some Japanese cartoony bullshit. I think I told everybody this. If a character is under the age of 40, their faces are all the same. But when they become old, they somehow spawn a nose on their face, and they actually get wrinkles, or they get, signs of aging. I don't understand that shit. Now, in this particular season, Anita really stood out to me because, well, they kept forgetting to draw outlines where her nose would be on her face anytime there was a front view. Like, they just show, here's her nostril cavities, like, where's the outlines? But then when they show it from the side, there's that faint outline. But then if you look at other characters, their nose is well defined and their outline is defined, but depending on the angle, it disappears. Now, when it came to the Caucasian women, particularly the two that, got the most screen time, which is the young woman and the elderly witch, her mother, whose names escape me, their noses were tooted
Maria
up a little bit more.
And I forget her mother's name.
Just start clicking at these pictures and then scroll through and you'll see when they close up on the face, there's no consistency with that nose outline. Now, don't get me wrong. It's not a big deal. I'm not going to hold it against them, but we're talking about animation, so we got to talk about things we noticed. So minor details are important over time, especially if they keep happening. But yeah, take a look at that link I just sent. So if you scroll through, just hit the arrow to the right, you'll see that all of those noses, there's no consistency with outlining and shaping. The shape is there,
it seems like they were drawn by different people.
Which probably was the case.
Probably was, but
that
you
should have been
still
more
want
consistent.
style consistency.
Yeah, now that would fall in the category of a key animator. So unlike in the world of 3D, a key animator is essentially the person who's drawing things that require heavy detail, or the ones who, are essentially making sure and coming up with the stuff that's going to be on model, right? So anytime you see something that's not, heavily touched on by the key animator, you can expect things to be different. It doesn't mean the other animators did low quality. It means that it wasn't something that the director or the production team considered important enough to put a key animator on. That's how animation is made. There's the key animators, and then there's the general purpose animators. Sometimes these roles can switch. But something about these noses, specifically just looking at the noses of the darker characters and the witches you mentioned. For the witches, especially the young one, Maria, I think you said? Yeah.
Yes.
Her nose is really thin and almost coming to a point like it's out of a Japanese cartoon, a generic cliche Japanese cartoon. But someone realizes this halfway through and stops themselves, and they add an outline to imply there's depth. Because you know how those noses work. They literally go up into a point, and then they look like someone just shaved a piece of wood to try to make a blade, and they're calling that a nose. And then in the other ones, you'll look at them like, the darker skinned characters. Here's their nostrils. Where is the depth that goes to showing off the depth of a nose? But then when there's a corner angle, here's that little thin outline I was asking about. It's weird.
It's very weird.
But not to a point where it took me, my suspension of disbelief was taken out, but it was noticeable, and it was in every episode. And then you go look at Estella Bathory, or whatever her proper pronunciation of her first name is,
Elizabeth.
and you can tell that's where a lot of detail went, because she's almost never off model.
She looks like an onion, though, and I have problems with that.
I don't know what you mean by that, but for me,
Look at her hair. She looks like an onion.
I
All I can
don't
think
know
about
what
when I
you
look
mean
at
by
her.
that. I
Look at her.
legitimately don't.
Look
But
at her hair. Look
I
at her
give the
fucking
animation.
hair, dude.
I've seen the goddamn show, woman. I can literally press 2 buttons and look at her hair in 4K. I'm giving the animation a B. There were some glaring, noticeable issues, but most of them were relating to small parts of the characters essentially feeling like they're off model, or it could have been a stylistic choice. It's hard to tell when it comes to those nose outlines, but I can honestly say I enjoyed practically every second of how it was animated, and I feel like there is much improvement on previous seasons. However, nothing is perfect. So hopefully there isn't another issue that shows up in another season. All right,
Yeah.
Your turn.
Okay, so...
Oh shit, you opened up a box.
Sorry, I don't know how to close the box.
What are you trying to do?
I was trying to share a picture of the onion lady.
Oh my god. All you gotta do, if you want to show me a picture, you just go into the chat and then drop the picture there.
Alright. No, it does not want to let me. Oh well. Anyway. She's an onion lady and I hate her. What were we talking about? Oh yeah, we were talking about...
Animation, how do you grade it?
Animation, I'm going to give it like a solid B-, honestly. It was really smooth in some places and really weird in others. It was very inconsistent. I think that's my biggest issue with it. It feels like they put more love into like some characters than they did for others. Like there was a consistency issue. I think that's my biggest problem with it.
This who you trying to show off?
What?
Look at the screen. This who you trying to show off?
No. The big bad. That's Drolta.
Oh, that's not Estella. Fuck. Yeah. Let me go pull her name up. She's on IMDb. That is... Wow, that's fucked up. We were talking about Estella Bathory, but the character was Drolta. Yeah, we fucked that up. I'll put disclaimers in the asterisks. Everything you just heard us say was about this character named Drolta. But no, you were talking. Now we're looking at Elizabeth Bathory.
Yeah, when I called her an
the onion lady.
That's who I was talking about. You see what I mean when I call her an onion, though?
Yeah, and the fucking nose shit again. I didn't even notice that.
She looks weird. Like, yeah, she's intimidating and all that shit, but like, it's hard to be intimidated by her because she looks funny. She looks silly goofy. I'm sorry.
You just won't let that hair go. You just won't let that hair go.
Drolta is I'm scared of her. Scared and but also like her design was solid. I don't know what happened when they got to Onion Lady.
When they got to Onion Lady. Yeah, Urza, but so what they were trying to do with her hair was once she ascended to whatever the fuck she's supposed to be, because they don't really explain it. They just say, oh, she's a god, and I was like, no. It looked like she just got a Super Saiyan transformation, honestly. I'm not even lying. It's what the shit looked like to me. It looks like it made her hair go up, ironically, like a Super Saiyan, but it closes itself off at the top, right? And since it closes itself off at the top, and it looks kind of orangish red to you, or I guess a light bright auburn or strawberry blonde. I don't know. There's too many weird color deviations with red. That's how you're getting that onion appearance. I mean, I was just happy with, the whole entire top half and what they did with them titties, but that is the I shouldn't like goths, but I know I do in me talking, and he doesn't get to have a vote. But yes, I understand what you mean, but that's a weird way to compare it to a fucking onion.
I'd all the listeners to go look her up and tell me that shit doesn't look like an onion to you. It was all I could think about when I was looking at her.
Yes, I put images up on screen from the IMDb.
Onion bitch.
It looked to me like a rose that hasn't bloomed yet, but damn, you just
maybe
had to
that's
fuck
what they
that
were
up.
going for. Maybe that's what it's going for, but
Because if you know, look, like I said, her hair is just going directly up like a Super Saiyan, but then it's coming in almost like a pyramid peak or a triangle up top. So the way I'm looking at it, I saw a rose that had not bloomed as a source of inspiration for her hair. But apparently we didn't have that same thought process.
No. You know what I saw? You know what I fucking saw? Saw this. Man, I'm about to try and send it.
I told you, just drop it in a regular chat and,
Okay, that's so weird. It's not letting me actually, send pictures.
Put it over here.
I know. It will not let me choose pictures to send. It says share a clip or use apps. So here's what I'm gonna do. No, it still says that. Hang on. Here we go. No.
This is interesting now.
Alright, well, I don't know what's going on with that. Weird. But she looks like an onion. Swear to God.
You wanna, I don't know, just put it in my DM instead?
Yeah,
in Discord?
probably gonna have to. Maybe it's just, it doesn't like the desktop app because that's what I'm using. Maybe there's an update that I'm missing. I mean, who honest to God knows?
I mean, I use the desktop app. I don't know too many people that actually go to the website proper.
No.
The fuck?
I think
Why
you
is my
have
right click not
I think
working?
you have image sharing turned off.
No, I don't. I don't even know how to turn it off.
Okay, well.
Oh, you trying to do share screen?
No, I'm trying to post a picture. An image.
I didn't even know you could do that.
But let me show you what let me show you what I've got. It's all grayed out. It won't even let me try. So there's something going on in these settings. See? I just sent the picture. Anyway, here's the onion that she reminds me of. This onion specifically.
Where are you putting the onion?
It's in your DMs.
Okay.
Yeah, no, you see the image above it where it shows that the plus button for sharing is grayed out. It's not grayed out when I go straight to your DMs, but it's grayed out here.
What? That
Yeah.
is...
Isn't that weird?
I don't know how that's a thing.
I don't know, but that's what it is. Is what
I mean,
it is.
yeah, that looks like every onion I've come across. Let me see.
It looks
if I
like her
can-
hair.
Yes, I will give you that. That's
Okay.
what it looks like. You
I
win.
went through a lot of effort to prove my point.
Yes, it was. I kind of commend you on it. You've now destroyed my concept of seeing a rose that hasn't bloomed.
Yes. She is Onion Lady, whether we want her to be or not.
Okay, all these buttons on the bottom of the screen ain't working for me.
Okay, so maybe there's an issue. Maybe Discord is having problems.
Yeah, but
Huh? Blows.
wait a minute. Where is the? Yeah, it's supposed to be the text recolor and something else button, and I don't have those anymore.
I don't either.
Let me save this and then we'll just load back into it. Or does it auto save?
Okay.
I think it auto saves. Let me.
Honestly, I think all Discord is fucked because I'm looking on. Oh no, just the server, I guess. Oh.
Okay, now it's back. Now that I restarted the activity. Yeah, everything is back to normal now, at least. Okay. I got the text options.
Cool, there it is. Anyway.
So yeah, what do you give the animation?
The animation, it is a, I believe I said B-.
All right. Now, I'm going to hurt some people's feelings with this one. Action. It's not that there wasn't enough of it. I'm not, one of those, Dragon Ball, like, dyed in the wool, my brain can't function if something isn't punching people. You know? Which Toriyama isn't even fucking like that. I can acknowledge when there's a problem or a mistake or an error, right? Tell me why. There was only one, maybe two memorable fight scenes that entire season. Really think about it.
I can't recall a single one.
Reminder, I just rewatched half of the season yesterday.
Okay.
Dramatic toning and effect affects action sequences. Tension affects action sequences. That first opener, when you know that they take liberties with the story or they fill in some blanks, and you see this, well, he was apparently native. He was a Aztec native, if memory serves. When you see this dude go at it with Richter's mom, memorable as shit. There are stakes. I feel tension. I don't know what's going to happen to Richter's mom because what did I tell you? Every Belmont character's family is either not spoken about in games or they mention that near the end of the game, you killed somebody in my family. You actually don't know the parents of most of the Belmonts, right?
Yeah.
I'm thinking Richter's going to escape. She's going to get left there and either becomes a villain later in the series because they turned her into a vampire instead of killing her, or she's going to, just disappear from the story. Generic cliche Japanese cartoon shit. As illogical as that is, right? So here's what happened. She dies. He walks over to him slowly and says, "I will let you live." Because this vampire has a conscience. And as we've already seen, it's rare, but, at least one vampire per season has a conscience. Perfect pacing, perfectly tense. And we got to see a vampire do things that, up to that point, we really had only seen Alucard do. I liked it. Second, when Richter is running just from realizing it's that same vampire. Here's the thing though. Some people would count that as the end of an action sequence. I don't. Why? Because it happens during an action sequence. The action sequence didn't magically end or fade to black when he started running away. And it was tense. You saw him break down and hit an ATL, for the uninitiated, all-time low. And I felt for this character. He thought he was adequate. He was building up his confidence. He saw not using magic as a minor inconvenience. And all of that gets shattered, and you see that under those layers, that little boy who's scared when his mom was murdered in front of him is still there. And that was some of the worst fake crying I've ever heard in my goddamn life.
Yeah.
It literally took me out of the scene. And it was one of the major reasons I could not give this shit an A. Because that was one of the deepest and impactful moments of character struggle, not development, character struggle, in the entire series. Because every single other Belmont has not had these issues that he's had. Or they grew past it, or they're only briefly mentioned, we don't see it. This guy, he was just like full on baby mode. So I felt for him, but that crying, no.
I know. We're gonna have to talk about that more when we talk about the acting, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, was the quality of the fights good? Yes. Did they do new things and more dramatic things from previous seasons? Literally, like, only really in the first episode, and I want to say the 4th or 5th episode, when Richter unlocks his Super Saiyan mode and can actually use magic. Almost everything in between there was very basic and not that memorable. Don't get me wrong, every fight sequence does not need to be memorable. However, there needs to be non-verbal communication. I need to understand that this is more than, a fight for the sake of let's have them fight and look cool. I didn't get that feeling. Almost everything with Droita was good. But the problem is that she gives generic cheesy lines while she's fighting in the beginning, or somewhere in the middle, or near the end. And it all amounts to her just looking like she just likes to fight, versus her trying to actively kill people. She's smiling and giggling. That's why I said she reminds me more of Morgan Ainsland, who's a succubus than a fucking vampire. She's teasing the protagonist. I get it. It's standard affair. I can't even get mad about it. It is boring and generic. When you stop a fight just to go, oh, did you hurt yourself, little Belmont, or some other shit. But they were well put together, especially the underground jail area fight. But almost anything else, I cannot remember. So,
honest to God, yeah.
I gotta give action a B+, because they knew what they were doing. They did improve, but the stylistic choices and the creativity all got specced into one slot, and that one slot was Richter, and it doesn't even happen till like the final hour, time-wise, of the entire season. So basically, the end of season 4, the end of episode 4, the end of episode 5, going into the final episode of the season, or last couple episodes of the season. Yes, there were witches. How often did they use magic? Then they brought the girls who can do earth telekinesis. That shit was boring. I'm not saying it wasn't creative. I'm saying it was boring. It didn't actually get utilized in a creative and unique way to the point of actually feeling like, okay, there's a sense of escalation. But again, they don't need to do that. They just need to make these fights dramatic and memorable. And they didn't. But since they still look cool, like I said,
yeah.
B+. Your turn.
I mean, in all honesty, you covered just about everything. For me, with the exception that personally for me, I can't recall. I can't recall a single fight that really stood out to me. They all just kind of seemed kind of samey. Nothing seemed like, oh wow, amazing. Like nothing blew me away. And I can't say the same for the other season of Castlevania. Like I can't say the same for the other arc, because there were moments in that animation where I was just like, holy shit. Like watching it.
the whole entire fucking first season, which was really a pilot that got chopped up and extended to an actual season because it was supposed to be a live action draft of what live action Castlevania could look like. The time that they put into that was insane because that was really where all the animation budget for that entire little pilot went. Because when you see Alucard turn into a wolf and start taking people out, when you see that girl making a sheet of ices and shit, I was like, okay, that's why the animation looks so cheap, because they spent it all here. Mm-hmm. That shit, I mean, got like 3 million views on YouTube. Yeah. Look up any fight sequence from this season, and you'll see they barely cracked, I think, 600,000-700,000. Or it'll be one person who took all the fights and they got 1 million off of them. Yeah. And then after that, no one cared about looking at them ever again. One-time views.
Yeah. But I will go back and I will just rewatch the Dracula fight. I will just rewatch that. Because there was so much. There was so much to it. It was so creative. It was so unique. And this was just kind of... So I would give it a solid B. It looked good. It looked pretty good. But nothing really stood out.
I need your grade.
I said B.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. And now I could literally pop some popcorn, but I think I'm just going to get a bag of chips. You're going to go first. And why don't you use as many gifs and memes as you want, and you can tell us what you think about the sound design.
Again, this goes back to kind of how I was explaining how I felt about the fighting. I can remember moments from, the first, second season of Castlevania. Like, it was so good. It was so memorable. There were so many standout moments in that one. And in this, I couldn't tell you what the music even was. It was just... I feel like there's almost always something that it's just like, oh yeah, that is an absolute bop. Oh my god, I love this. But there was nothing in that. There was nothing from this season. Absolutely nothing. There may as well have been like no music, like no sound effects, none of that. For all I care. It was so generic and so, frankly, boring. Just boring. I was bored. And I shouldn't be bored. Fuck. They get a D.
Did I mention sound design also includes the voice acting shit and how that was recorded?
I thought we were putting that in acting. Okay.
Nope.
I don't know where they recorded. I'm pretty sure they all recorded in like separate places. Was this done during COVID? Did they record all their lines during COVID, like from like home studios? Because
assuming
there was
you're
no
not being rhetorical, no.
Okay, then there's no excuse. There was zero consistency at all. Some of it sounded like it was literally just recorded from a closet. Which, yeah, you could do that, I guess. But like for something that's with a budget like this, why not rent a studio? It doesn't make any sense to me. There was no excuse, as far as I'm concerned, for how fucked up the audio was. None. Honestly, it was just lazy. And now I'm getting angry. Fuck. So yeah, D- now, actually.
That was much nicer than I expected.
I'm trying to be nice. I'm trying not to be a complete and total cunt all the time. Doing my absolute best here. But Zax, it is hard. It is so difficult. I want to go absolutely feral, like an angry, like, cat. But I have to keep it in because I have neighbors.
See, this
I
is
have
why
neighbors.
One day, I know technically I can do it. It'll cost me a shit ton of money. I want to do an episode of the podcast in Gravity Studios.
Yes.
That might be one of our closer episodes, but also I know I gotta pay at a bare minimum your gas or your train cost,
Yeah.
which would be cheaper than renting out the studio. That doesn't bother me. But I actually do want to do that as like a special or end of the year thing. Get as many people in the studio at once. I know I can get Officer because he can get on the train. I know I can get you because you can get on a different train. There's me. And Ramsey has to de facto be there with us.
Yeah.
Because,
no choice.
he's working the booth. So that's 4. I don't know if I can grab anybody else, but...
And then I can scream into the void about all the
Yes.
things that piss me the fuck off.
See, I'm lucky in some sense. I know you don't know nothing about Berwyn at all, but in the building I'm in, there's a thick wall, and I'm on the ground floor.
Oh,
So
I see, lucky.
I have neighbors, but I don't have neighbors. See what I'm saying? So I
Yeah.
can get loud. I can play video games at 3 a.m. and I ain't got shit to worry about. Right?
No,
I
it
know
has to
you
be
don't have that
respectful. No. The walls are thin. I live in a condo. I have neighbors on both sides of this bedroom.
See, I always make a point to get the last room or the first room on if I'm ever in a condo.
Yeah.
But
there was no choice.
no, I got you.
Yeah.
But and putting up wall paddings would be a pain in the ass. 'Cause whenever you leave, you got to take them bitches down. But
Yeah.
okay. So I'm not going to be nice, and Honeybee is going to share her spirit bomb energy with me, so I can spiritually bomb this sound design. First and foremost, I don't know if some people got comfortable from back when the world had cooties, but there is no excuse to be recording this way. Secondly, even if you were recording this way, a fucking good sound designer and engineer, yes, I said good. I know what I'm implying. I don't hate these people, but this is one of those situations where I can say honestly, even without reviewing, that the people who approved this sound engineering and sound design and the people who mixed it failed at their job significantly. Everyone who heard this audio and approved it failed at their job significantly. Do not get me wrong. I do not hate Addy Shanker. Not only do I respect him, but he's one of the few people who, if I can so much as get close to getting an autograph for, I will fly out of the goddamn country if I have to. I don't have that many directors and producers, let alone that I can name, that I respect to that level. Okay? So believe me when I tell you, I'm a little bit annoyed and offended. I am. I am genuinely annoyed and offended that Laserhawk, that show that no one knew if it was going to be good or bad, is so well put together. Visuals, audio, storyline. And here's Castlevania that actually has a concrete history and has left a lasting impression in the concept of video gaming artistically and as an industry. And half the characters sound like they're fucking whispering when they're right next to each other. How the fuck is this still a thing? They almost got it right in the last season. They almost got it right. The main characters were still, how do you put it? The main characters, when they were talking amongst themselves, no action shit, they still had those random moments where the dialogue's not coming out correctly. People are not sounding loud, or somebody just hit the automatic equalizer, loudness equalizer, and the normalize button, and forgot to turn this shit the fuck off. Now, for those who don't know what that means, in a lot of decent audio programs, there's this thing called a normalizer. And what it does is, it boosts low audio, and it lowers high audio, to where it sounds like they all have a similar decibel level. It is a stupid thing to do for any form of voice acting, that's something you put on or you try to have happen on select sequences. You don't just let that shit run wild through your entire audio file. It was weird. And the more time passed, the less I noticed it, coupled with the more the audio team was paying attention. But then we get to this fucking season. And it's like all the goodwill they had burnt away. I'm not even going to get on the opera singer. We've already discussed that. It's not even that he sounds terrible. It's that this is not terribly written Steven Universe. Reminder, all the writers quit the first season because Rebecca Sugar couldn't listen to shit. And honestly, she shouldn't have been in fucking charge. I've already made my peace that Rebecca Sugar is just, her image is never going to match how she is when, behind the scenes. But there's too much Disney shit going on right now. This is not a series where there should be a lot of operatic singing for no reason. And there was literally no reason other than they were happy that they got somebody from Hamilton.
It was just showing off at that point.
Yes. And that's a problem. So, fucking... honestly, my biggest issue is the fact that everyone involved with production said, this sounds cool. I think I know what happened. And this is an assumption, especially when, you're in a production where the budget wasn't cut, randomly or extraordinarily without, warning. They were listening to this series in a 5.1 or maybe a 7.1 sound system inside the production house. Or maybe in Addie Shanker's house. He had a 5.1 or 7.1 sound system. And what he heard was like the most crystalline best shit. Well, let me tell you something. I got a soundbar worth a couple hundred. It can do an auxiliary, which is the worst quality. It can do, what came after auxiliary? Fuck. The thing with the red dot in it. Fiber optics. And it can do HDMI audio, which is uncompressed. And it can do Bluetooth, which, depending on how old or new the equipment is, it can technically be considered uncompressed or damn near uncompressed. I flaggled around for literally 2 hours trying to make up a custom special setting that didn't sound terrible to watch this show. Let me say that again. 2 hours. Do you know what that means? I spent the equivalent runtime of 3 episodes just trying to get the audio to not sound like trash. That's not okay. That's not normal. And this has happened so frequently, we know it's not an accident. So there's something inherently wrong with the way they are recording the dialogue and mixing the dialogue. It's not the actors. Let me say that right now. I say again, it is not the actors. The biggest problem that the cast of Castlevania has is that these actors is too damn pretty. Like, I'm straight, but I can acknowledge when I see, oh, this is a pretty boy. I can acknowledge when I see, oh man, I'm not 50 or 60, but goddamn, if I was, I would ask her out. They are genuinely beautiful people. Or they look extremely masculine. I honestly don't have a bad thing to say about the cast.
Yeah.
As people and performers. But this sound engineering, these people, they're bothering me. Because what lie are they telling Shankar for this to keep happening? What's going on that no one's paying attention? I can't even find, and I'm looking at the credits. No, wait, I think I might be able to find it. I'm looking at the series production management. I see production assistant. I see outsourcing manager, accountant, coordinator. Come on, music. Somebody in music. Sound department. Foley artist, I'm going to leave you alone. Post audio sound supervisor. Here we go. We got him. Peter Dorado of Salami Studios audio post-production. Did the entire season. This man failed at his job. And I do not say that as someone who has a personal gripe against him. And I do not say that and I do not say those words lightly. Peter Dorado failed at his job. Meredith Lane probably did a good job. Like I said, she's there at the beginning of the recording, not at the end of the stuff. And she's not listed doing any mixing. She was the voice director for 8 of the episodes, specifically from Nocturne, so the entire first season. Now, Paul Menichini, no idea if I'm saying that name correctly. Sound design and editorial, again, Salami Studios audio post-production. As well as Jonathan Abelardo, again, Salami Studios audio post-production. He did 7 of the 8 episodes. So now we've pinpointed the issue. The issue is Salami Studios audio post-production. And whoever immediately okays and greenlights any audio that they received from them. And that could legitimately be, like, based on this alone, maybe 5 or 6 different people who approved it. Maybe Sam Dietz, because he's the series production designer. I don't know. And there's almost 10 different producers. Anybody could be responsible. I mean, except the line producers. They really just make sure people get paid. And are kind of like HR before HR. And I'm sorry, I have to say this. I honestly hope whoever's the lead producer or executive producer considers changing who they have mix and handle their audio. If they want to use the COVID excuse, it's too late for that. It's too late for that.
Yeah. We're like 3 years out.
Technically, according to Biden, the pandemic officially was declared ended on the federal level May 11th. However, we've had vaccinations and the lockdown ended a long ass time ago. Mm-hmm. Also, for all we know, this shit could have been recorded and mixed in 2 different countries. As far as I'm concerned. We don't know what their process is, but we do know that it is an inadequate process and it needs improvement. Now, if we go on everything else, the Foley did his job adequately. There were many sound effects that were extremely generic, and I feel like I've been hearing at least 30 years. But those were few and far between. I'm not coming at the Foley artist. I'm not coming at any form of ambience sound effect noises. The issue begins and ends with the mixing process and the editing process of these fine actors fucking their dialogue. Yeah. And this might be one of those situations where people will assume the actors are at fault, but realistically, it's not the actor. I know they say don't blame, there are no bad actors, there are only bad directors. We all know that's a fucking lie. But in this case, it might not be a bad actor and it might not be a bad director. It might just be a bad post-production department.
Okay, to be fair though, I do think there was some directing issues. We'll get to that when we go to acting, like when we discuss that specifically.
So with that being said, I have to give the sound design a fucking D. Mm-hmm. Because it doesn't make any sense with the budget they have, the talent they have, to have a production studio for audio do this bad of a job and no one seems to say anything about it. I have to go online in the YouTube comments to talk to people about, hey, did anybody else have this weird audio issue? Oh, I thought it was just me. Yeah, I thought it was just me. I'm sorry.
Fucked up.
I will watch the next season. I will heavily invest in this show going forward. and I do like it, and I do not hold a grudge, nor do I think it's a good idea to tell somebody you want to kill them because they made a fictional half-vampire character bisexual. But that sound design...
What?
Yeah, that happened. Someone threatened one of the writers of season 2 with death.
Okay.
Because they made Alucard bisexual.
They need to touch grass.
Yeah, y'all say that, but they need to touch my fist. That's what I think. Anyways.
Okay, yeah, that too.
Anyway. I'm not comfortable giving it anything higher than a D. No. And that's rare. Normally, there's some wiggle room. You guys could talk me into things, but y'all normally don't. But in this case, if someone tried that, I would be offended if they tried to have me graded higher than a fucking D. By the way, what was your grade? Because you went first.
Oh, I said D-.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Oh, great minds think alike or some dumb shit like that. All right, so for this next one, again, I'm going to let you go first. Tell me how you feel about the acting. And remember, please use the IMDb page to properly name people so I can display them in real time with what you say.
Okay. All right. Okay. So, first of all, I thought, the actor for Richter was pretty good.
Edward Bluemel.
Yes. I don't really have any, immediate issues with his performance at all. I thought it, Thuso Mbedu, the one that played Annette, I thought she did very well, actually. I really enjoyed her performance.
Thuso Mbedu.
Thank you. Pixie Davies as Maria. It's hard to say if I had an issue with her performance or if it was a director issue, because sometimes it felt like the characters were talking past each other, not to each other, and I saw that mostly on Maria's end. Yeah, okay, great. I'm glad I'm not crazy. Pretty much everyone else, pretty solid. Edward, fine performance, but again, did I really need it? No. Not really. I feel like that was more of a character issue than anything. And once again, I think it was mostly a director issue. If the characters were, if the actors were not performing in the same place and performing to each other, that could explain why it didn't seem like they were actually talking to each other. The tone, I feel like, was a little off for what was happening, but it's hard to convey a certain tone if you're not reacting to anybody, There's a certain way that you talk to somebody that's natural if you're responding to what they say. But if you're only reading their response and then trying to say your response, it's hard.
Understand.
Yeah.
I think I understand because, let me rephrase it. I think I understand what you mean now, because this is something that, localized Japanese cartoons are good at hiding. A lot of them do not record in the same booth or even on the same day, and they don't hear everybody's lines. So sure. I think the problem here is,
but that's why you need
the director forgot
yes.
the setting and the tone that the actors are supposed to be in. So their lines come out clear and they're well performed, but they don't match the setting that's on screen.
Exactly. And you need a director there that is going to be like, okay, that was good, except here's what I need you to do different in the next take.
Yeah, and unlike with the Japanese cartoon stuff, their shit may not have already been, drawn or drafted when they're recording. Yeah. So, yeah, they may need to change their entire process of how they're... This still leads back into the same thing I said, but I get what you're saying now. I get it. Continue.
Oh, no, that was basically it, honestly. Good actors, bad direction, in essence. I had no immediate issues with anybody. Some of the accents, I think, were a little too thick. I needed to turn on subtitles when Elizabeth was speaking. because she had that like very typical like want to suck your blood kind of like accent,
They
and it
tried
was
to
it was a
use
little silly.
some
It was
type
a
of
little silly.
echo device,
What?
but the problem
What?
is that
Yeah.
the echo device is set too damn low.
Yeah.
I actually contemplated turning on subtitles, but eventually I said, fuck it. I went in, paused it, and I modified again for the third time the soundbar settings so I could maybe tell what the fuck is going on with her speech. This isn't an actor problem. It is the sound design team is just, and I guess technically the director will be a problem, but we don't know the methodology that they use to record.
No.
And
we have
that's
no
the
idea.
biggest problem. Whatever methodology they have, they don't know that they need to change it. Sorry to interrupt again.
No, that was basically it. You basically basically covered that. So I guess as far as acting goes, like I want to be gentle with the actors because they're good actors, but it's really hard to, you know what, just purely for acting, I'm gonna give them like a B plus. Mostly solid performances all around, honestly. And they would have been better with more direction.
No, we should probably make a direction category, but I feel like if we did
Yeah,
that, it would just end up being a D all over again. And at that point,
basically.
we're kicking a dead horse.
No, they get a D for direction from me, but solid B for acting. I'm
Okay.
really stingy with my grades.
No, that's fine. If you were just an echo chamber or a yes man, we wouldn't even be fucking doing this.
No.
Okay, so from HB, the actors get a B. It wasn't their performance, it was the material and the direction.
Yeah. And there's only so much you can do as an actor. You got to work with what you have.
Now, for me, I know this is bad. I know this is bad, and it's going to make me look like a hypocrite on some level.
No, go ahead.
I give it an A minus. And I'm going to tell you why. I figured out as early as the first season, with the exception of one character, really. These are not bad actors.
No.
These are either bad direction, or it's not bad direction, it's bad sound mixing and ADR. Or a combination of, multiple negatives in that statement.
Yeah, right.
What stops it from being perfect is in dramatic sequences when there's high tension or there's some elevated heightened situation that is extremely dramatic, not necessarily an action sequence. You can see some of these actors shine. But then right as I'm getting into the performance, here comes somebody whose delivery doesn't match the setting, which we've discussed with you.
Yeah.
Or they sound too damn low.
Yeah.
Your main villain for this entire goddamn show, the one who's actually a villain, who doesn't even show up into her super state and super form till the end, has the worst mixing out of everyone, but is supposed to be the main antagonist going forward and into the next season. Can you imagine if Richter busts in and say, "Vampire, you are not a god. I am here to stop you." And then she's like, "No, you will not, Richter. You will only die trying." No, speak up, bitch. You're an evil Super Saiyan-like vampire. Speak up. Why your voice so low, goddammit? That's something that the actors can't necessarily fix. But also, these actors always watch their own shit. I don't know of any actor, maybe unless they knew it was going to be a terrible product from beginning to end, who has not seen their own shit at least once. Right? someone should have said something. But to be fair, at least with this new season, Nocturnal, there's only one returning character and they have one sentence, and it's the final sentence of the season. I'm not joking.
Yeah.
So these new people should have at least looked at the show and saw what the fuck is up with the audio. I can't give them perfect marks despite the quality of their talent, because at a bare minimum, they should have had something to say about the audio.
Yeah.
At a bare minimum. I'm not comfortable with how it sounds, but I know it's not their fault. But what I'm confused by is, why did they say nothing? There's been no mention of this on any of their social media. It's been confirmed this isn't an isolated issue, and it's not Netflix's fault, technically.
Yeah.
On a technicality. I went through multiple different audio settings. They all did a good job. Except one motherfucker who stops this shit from being perfect. And no, it's not little crybaby Belmont, because that was one sequence where he cried and it was like 20 seconds. Okay? Oh, what's his name? I feel like you already know who I'm about to say too. Sidney James Harcourt. Look.
Yeah.
Look. I don't hate that guy. I have no personal vendetta or anything. Huh. I have no personal vendetta against him. I don't have a negative thought about him whatsoever. Let me tell you something. I'm mad that he didn't look at this script and just immediately think, hey, I feel like there's too much singing in here and it's unnecessary. What I can't even figure out is, did he tell them, hey, I want to sing at least 3 or 4 times? Every episode I'm in, I want to sing. In that case, first off, you shouldn't have hired him. Or they should have just told him, no. And if that's a problem for you, we'll just replace you.
Yep.
Again, I can't honestly blame him for it, but the fact that he didn't say, no, I'm not going to do it because it's excessive and it seems very out of place. This isn't a Disney movie or Rebecca Sugar's bastardized Disney show, which basically has the same trappings, ironically, of a Disney musical. Yeah, that's it.
I know.
I
Yeah.
can't give it a perfect grade. Everyone did a good performance. And any issues that I had with their performances weren't because they were bad actors. It was because of bad direction, as we discussed, or bad ADR and post ADR, which isn't something that they would even get to see or be involved with in most productions. So, the way I'm looking at it is, the biggest issue is, why were there not re-recordings? But again, that's not something they did. So I have to go 100% on performances. Drolta was a standout. I'm glad she's going, though, because she was very, very generic, but in a good way. They knew how to construct that character. They did a good job with it.
Oh, for sure.
Richter had that perfect blend of confidence, borderline arrogance that you would expect from a young person. But, you know, there was growth without him having to essentially get his ass beat. He got spooked. That Aztec vampire guy, I can't remember his name, but I enjoyed his character because it was so unique. I think it was Vablanc was his name, maybe? Or was that the Reverend?
No, that was a Reverend, I think. I don't remember. Anyway, I actually really gotta go, like, in a minute.
You should start giving me your timelines. But anyways,
I put it in the chat like 20 minutes ago.
Oh shit, I'm on full screen mode. That's why.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So honestly, I can recommend watching the show if you can tolerate the horrendous levels of random spikes of horrendous voice direction and audio post-production. Generally speaking, the cast did a good job. There's only one character who should not have been there, to the point where it's like Korg from Thor movies. Completely expendable. And if you can get past that, you'll find a slightly above average show. And I sincerely hope they continue to improve in the next season. But all in all, I give the entire season as a whole a C+.
Okay.
What about you?
Yeah, I'm just gonna say a solid C. Am I gonna revisit it again anytime soon? Probably not, but maybe before the next season comes out, I'll give it a quick rewatch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And with that being said, I will see you guys in the next one. Y'all have a nice day.
Alright, bye.